Good afternoon again. Jason Phillips from Auto Appraise, checking out closely a 1967 A-code Ford Mustang Fastback, titled as an A-code car, set up as a Eleanor recreation. Let's take a peek under the hood and inside the interior. It's a Gen 1 Coyote setup, 32 valve, nicely tucked in. Let me grab my LED light to show that a little better. By the way, if you need a pre-purchase inspection, 800-301-3886, 800-301-3886, or email cars@autoappraise.com. Jamming on some Kiss and looking at cool cars. Pretty neat. I'm losing a few of my magnets as they sit over here this afternoon. The engine bay was done very nice. You can tell it was completely taken apart and refabricated. Apron stamp is present here on the top, painted over, but the majority of digits match the copy of title that I looked at. Nice billet radiator, electric pusher fans, modified shock towers, of course, vintage air conditioning set up, all the relays mounted nicely down here. Front of the engine's very clean. I was told the motor was donored, I think, or the car was built in 2016. Engine built up and or installed back then by Harris Racing out of North Carolina. Oil appears to be in pretty good shape. Coolant could stand to be flushed, but it's not in bad shape. Little billet overflow tank down there with a glass observer. That's pretty cool. A few paint chips that need to be tended to down there where the control arm mounts are coming through and on the engine mount there, and a few scattered paint chips that have been pointed out in photos, and a few over here on the aprons as well. Very cool billet hood hinges. Nice clean setup. Nothing much else to discuss underneath the hood. A couple small contact chips right there where the hood sets down. I don't know if you're going to avoid that, touch them up and it'll probably chip again. The interior doesn't really need much commenting. Take a quick peek at the door jamb while I'm coming in on this side. Door jamb detail is fairly nice. Skin lips look really good. Doors were likely replaced based on digital paint meter readings. A little bit of a touch-up right there by the belt seal when they were installing it. A couple other small nicks, but other than a couple casual rock chips that have not, my understanding is the dealership just took this car in and it hasn't been through a cosmetic detailing yet or a touching up, so they told me to expect some touch-ups that they were going to tend to. But that being said, I am mentioning what I see at this current time. There's a tape line right here on the sill that probably could be addressed. These sill plate covers have some scuffs going in, and like I said, some chips there. Kick panels are nice. They're updated with speakers. Mats are new. Carpet kit's new. Tremec 6-speed. It's a bad boy right there. Nice Shelby reproduction steering wheel. Doesn't quite have the deep dish like they were a little bit deeper dish in the day. Dash pad's new. Lenses. Face of the dash, aftermarket stereo. There's a few small chips down on the dash around the ashtray. one down here on the glove box door. The glove box is fitted with all the AC components, so you don't necessarily get a glove box anymore, but you get air conditioning, vintage. So a couple small paint chips in there, nothing to cry too much about. Aftermarket pedal set up. Wiring harness is nice and clean. There's a plug-in setup to dial the car in for the late model drivetrain. Door panels have been changed, hardware's been changed, painted door tops are nice. This quarter trim was cleaned up and reused. You can see a few little kind of cat paw scratches in the base underneath the coating, but they're pretty nice otherwise. Upper trim panels in chrome have been changed. Got an original rear glass, I'll show you that in a minute. New fold down rear seat and new front seats, very firm, feel very good. Covers, pads, everything very nice, no complaints. Headliner's in great shape. Let's look at it. I'll show it again if we get outside. The problem is it started pouring down rain about an hour ago, and I had already been here about 3.5 hours at that point. So the interior, really nothing to remark about other than some chips on the dash. This rear glass is an original one, and you can see a few ice scraper scratches and various whatnot. Original car light, silk screening. This glass new, this glass new. They both roll up, close, and do what they should. The vents are a little floppy. They don't sit tight like the 67 did in the day. You can see this was all taken apart, a little bit of paint touch-up where some contact chips happened there. Windshield is a new Pilkington unit, so is the trim around it. Wiper arms are new. Billet hood pins. Those are replacement units, pretty cool. Upgraded mirrors. This seal over here, this rubber belt seal is in good shape here. And then here it's had a little bit of black silicone building and touch-up. I'll go through the exploded view here shortly on some of the paint flaws. Some have been touched up, some still need touching up. Digital magnet readouts. Both doors open and close, really nice. Trunk and hood open and close and latch successfully. Let me show you this trunk. First of all, there's no keyed entry into the trunk. Up underneath the seat, you see the cable, and then you've got a release handle here. Pull that and the trunk opens. Trunk is very nice, well done. Jambs are in great shape. A couple small chips back here as well. A crack at that seam. Stripes are laid out very nicely on this car and clear coated over. Custom built aluminum tank, electric pump. Glued down carpet on all the trunk extensions and inner quarters, so I'm not going to be able to show you anything there, but you can see the brand new fold down rear seat frame. The battery's all boxed in nicely. Needs a little vacuuming back here. That's just electrical little pieces of copper and plastic whatnot. Shut off switch right there, conveniently mounted on the back of the battery box. There's a couple chips noted on the exploded view. I will show shortly, but nothing death-defying. One little contamination there in the paint, and one up here on the bottom of the stripe. Can't really see it. New rubber seal, new latching mechanism, tail lights. You can tell those are all new. Sequentials. Trim is new. Rubber seals are new everywhere, up along the roof pillars and in the door jambs in the trunk. There's a few very small little spots of various contaminations. There's a subtle line right here. It's a line underneath the paint. Could be a blend line when they touched up and did a little more paint work on the car. There's a little metallic gathering right in this area, and or a blend line where they perhaps fogged in a little repair. You can kind of see where it ends here as well. As you come off that at a distance, it is not so obvious. There's a few spots in the car like this. There's a chip on top of the quarter that needs to be touched up. Using my fingers so you can get a nice measurement on it. Just a few little polishing scratches in here that would likely polish up and wheel. The metallic is beautiful in this, and you can't feel these stripes. It's very nice. A little bit of contamination right in here. It's very subtle. I think under the fluorescent lights that shows up, and I doubt it would show up outdoors. We have another little blend line happening right in this area. Kind of walks its way along here. And again, I'll show you that at a distance. See if it'll stay focused. It's very subtle, but present. For a fiberglass lid, that lid fits really, really nice. A couple small chips down low. There's a little sag here that could be sanded out. A little touch up right there that's already happened. And a small one down there on the valance panel that's happened. Bumpers are painted and fitted nicely. Coming down along this side of the car, just a little bit of, maybe a little hair got in the paint right in there. Little mosquito foot. Small little divot up here in the rain gutter. Another little contamination bubble or mosquito foot underneath the paint there. A little bit of contamination bubbling right in here. Again, very small, that's on the quarter. I don't want to minimize the little paint problems. I don't want to make them sound horrific either. I gotta imagine assembling a silver car like this, having to try and match up silver, that can be a bit of a challenge. The color is fairly uniform. Again, the fluorescent lights are making the metallic flip-flop in here a little bit. There may or may not have been some additional touch-up work done on the car. You can see a little bit of a fog-in line there, and a small little underneath the paint flaw there. Front bumpers are laid out pretty nicely. Really no damage to talk about except a small chip that's been touched up there. And a little tiny circle somewhere in here, maybe right there. Almost like a water spot. Up on the hood, there may be a little bit of a hue difference in here, although if you flip over, it's difficult to discern, honestly. Looks like the hood might have a little more of a metallic in it. Might have got shot again. And there's just a couple little flaws. Kind of a metallic gathering right there. And another one right in here, somewhere, right here. Little flaw in the edge of the paint. See if I can hone in on that. It's pretty subtle. Most people probably aren't going to notice it. So the fitment of the body panels is really nice. There's a little bit of overlap from the bumper to the bottom of the fender. This is congruent side to side. Headlight extensions fit pretty good. A little bit of touch up there when they were putting them on. But that overlap doesn't exist on one side and not the other. It basically fits the same on both sides. The hood lines very nice. The trunk lines, very nice. The front door lines, very nice. The doors open and close nicely. Just a slightly wider gap right in this little area. This aftermarket sheet metal these days doesn't fit perfect, and unless you fill the dog legs with Bondo, which these are not, you don't end up always with the exact same door gap you were hoping. So we got a little bit of a hangout issue that might be able to be adjusted in some. Top of the door fits pretty nice. That might be the most questionable line on the car. And again, the trunk lines, they look great. Bumper fitment is nice. Side view. Car's very straight, it's been blocked out nicely. Down here, there's not much stone splash or anything like that to discuss. And down here we got a little bit of a door gap challenge, same as we have on the other side. It appears that all the door handles and locks, again, all the trim was changed. The door handle over on the other side could be tightened up just a little bit. Got like a tiny bit of motion in it. Front headlights, lower grille trim, etc., all changed. Let's get this car up on the hoist. I've been here almost 4 hours, but the temperature of the floor is 63. Engine is 70, what does that say? 72, 73, 73. Pretty cold. LED reverse lights, brake lights are working. He started it up and shut it off. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You said what?
He shut it off right away. He started up right and he'd say, shut it off.
This?
Yeah.
We worked on it, we fixed it.
Sorry about that. We're going to take a pause while we wait to move a truck to get the car on the hoist. While they're working on getting some cars moved around, I'll finish going around the body. So obviously the flares have been worked into the body panels, but you can see magnets are adhering right outside that. I got 22, 34, 25, 27, 20, whoops, 32. That's a dyslexic reading. 46, 53 on the door corners, and 40. Go ahead. I have still photographs all around the vehicle of all those readings, and they're consistent side by side. While they're getting the car up on the rack, this is the exploded view that you can freeze frame on. Let me get better lighting. Sorry about the noise. So there's a very small crack in the paint right here. I'll show that to you. I don't think I did. These circles with X's represent the areas that I showed some metallic gathering or some blending lines. There's a pencil lead sized chip right there. There's a 1-inch contamination in the paint underneath the mirror on the driver's door. I talked about the wider fit at the bottoms of the doors. There's a small chip in the rocker. There's a couple hairline scratches right here in the roof, but you can't really feel them. So again, here's that modeling condition, and there again on the deck lid. Those two chips I showed earlier. There's some very light hairline scratches in the deck lid, and then 1/4 inch touch up there, and a little modeling there. I think if I'd have showed this first, the onlooker might go, yikes, but the general presence of the car still looks pretty nice. Other than the underbody, I haven't covered the wheels and the tires yet. A few more readings on this side: 34, 56, 27, 34, 47, door corner. Let's try a little higher. 54, there you go. So, while we're on pause here, 315 35 ZR17s in the back. Little minor nick here and there. I didn't really feel any physical damage regarding contact on the inner wheel lips, so that could have happened. They could have been on another car. On the actual wheel itself, they're in really nice shape. They're polished up real nicely, and they'll probably clean up even better. There's maybe a couple little small flaws on each wheel I have still photos of. Tri-spinner 10-spoke Shelbys, obviously recreation wheels, made by American Racing. Very nice. Excellent tread. Car's showing about 510 miles, and there's no nibs left on the tread of these cars, the tires, so may or may not have been used all the time on this car. Appears to have good contact, or good good clearance. Take a look and see if it's quit raining outside. No, still raining lightly. I don't think they're gonna let me drive the car in this kind of weather. It was really dry coming down here. All right, we're up on the rack. We're going to move through the underbody. First of all, we have a good-looking lower frame radiator support going along here. Everything seems stock and solid. That's the additional mount for the Eleanor glass front bumper. Die holes look like they're in good shape. Welded in is this cross member that mounts the rack and pinion. That looks real nice. This is a whole tubular setup you can buy complete, and it's a very nice setup. Adjustable billet coilovers, cross-drilled discs, ventilated, a heights package. Tie rods are clean, rack ends, arms are clean, boots are clean, good shape. Some mud splash up there. A single bolt holds the front of the edge of the cover on. Motors fit in nice and tight. Leaves a little clearance up there, but they got it. They got it. Did a little adjusting to make that happen. I got a small drip, I think, of power steering fluid there. Again, the dealer just reminded me before I turned this video back on, this car has not been through their typical car cleanup and detailing and touch-up and whatnot. Coated headers, very nice. Well, stainless. I meant to say stainless. Fab work looks nice. Rails were scuffed, a little bit of oxidation. Needs to be cleaned up in a few spots. Near that driver's side torque box, braided lines. Floor panels look like they're in nice shape. Here's a repair section right there. Frame ties added. Polished exhaust with a cross pipe all the way back. Tremec T6, everything is very, very clean. Not cosmetically detailed, but you know what I mean, clean in that sense. This rear end setup is cool. It's a Jaguar style center disc brake setup. These rail arm extensions welded in nicely on the subframe connectors. Exhaust crossed over nicely. 3-inch, I think, clearance on that drive shaft, and then a rubberized texture sprayed on the underside of the car. A little bit of oxidation needs cleaning up. Rear sway bar brackets welded onto the rails look nice. Again, Heights rear end setup, mimicking the Jaguar, the Jaguar. Ford center. So other than some cosmetic cleanup and detail work back here, everything looks nice. These extension panels have been replaced. Rear frame rails look like they're in good shape. No tears or elongations on either side. Deleted transverse, leaf spring mounts, no longer necessary. They used a red wire up here, I noticed earlier, for a ground wire, which is no big deal. That's a ground wire from there to there, and I would paint it black. One more look here. We don't see any oil leaking. And that front main seal looks great there too. This is a adjustable valve, and that little leak right there is power steering fluid. It looks like it's coming off the high pressure side of the rack and pinion. Okay, there we have the underbody. All right, we're gonna get it down and take it for a ride and then call it a day. Another little spot of modeling back there I was pointing out, and a little bit of a clear coat drip. I've actually seen a guy take the back edge of a razor blade and drag it along a clear coat drip and then wet sand it right out. So it's definitely a solvable problem.
Right here it says push to release latches, which is what I'm doing.
A couple other flaws that I didn't even see half the day while I was here because they're so low. So if you don't have the car up on a hoist, you're not likely gonna spot these very easily. There's a small contamination there and where they bodied in those little side spoilers. A few little marks and whatnot. Back here behind the tires, this mostly is just mud. It's wiping off, and there's really no major stone chippage to discuss. I know it's kind of weird, my camera doesn't, it actually darkens up when I shine the light on it, but there's not a lot to discuss on these quarter panel splash areas. Wheels will polish up really, really nice. All right, we're getting her down finally. We're gonna test the headlights, turn signals, radio, air conditioning, and to see if I can talk them into driving me in this crappy weather. Radio working? Yep. All right, turn that off, please. How about a horn? How about a wiper? There we go. How many speeds you got there? 2, 3? Okay.
6.
All right. And you know how to turn the vintage air on? Heard the air conditioning compressor kick in. Fans are running anyway. All right, we're starting out at 72, 71. Here, we'll check that when we get again outside, okay? Let's let it run for a minute. And I got him to, convinced him to take me on a short ride. Okay, pretty cold, pretty cold. Okay, this is me. I know the lighting's not good, but I'm just kind of checking out the clutch. The roads are a real mess. I appreciate them letting me even take this for a short drive just to feel it. The suspension feels good. Nice turning radius. Didn't hear any contact. I think I'm going to turn that air conditioning compressor off in a second. Let's just check it one more. Yep. Let's just check it one more time. 70. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a, actually 64, 68. Can't see what I'm doing here. Looking at both the screen and the, what is that? It's not showing up 64, 67. Okay, so air is working. I prefer not to have the air working. 522 miles. Clutch engaging in the upper portion of the pedal. Short drive. I'll just do a short drive. Yeah, just do me a favor. If you touch it very sensitively, it will shut off. So just kind of touch it here and slide your fingers in the back. Okay. So slide your fingers in, yep, like that. Yes, perfect. Yep. There you go. Pinch it, and you're good. Okay. Hey, everybody. That's the direction I want to go.
Yeah.
Sorry for the dark test drive results. If you can watch me shift a little bit. Showing on the gauge. Looks like we're charging. And temperature's riding nice at the moment. That's the tachometer right there. That is the fuel gauge. And that's their temperature. So we'll take a look at that again in a minute. For a minute so we get out into traffic. We'll turn it back on. We'll let it run a few more minutes while we're sitting here waiting. appreciate you letting me drive this car again. So let me get it through the gears and we'll call it a day. I'll take it back to the shop and let it idle for a while. Isn't it?
Yep.
Man.
Shoot left. Go down through there, bro.
This way?
Yeah.
Okay. How about we start out in first gear? Braking with my hands off, and that seems to be pretty straight. Where am I going here?
Okay, take a left here,
okay,
and you can go through the light if you want to try and see what's going on that way.
Okay. Should I go ahead and pause the camera while we get out of this heavy traffic?
Not getting hot.
Yep. Oil pressure right. Oil pressure looks like it's maintaining. Tack is working.
Yep.
We don't have a whole ton of gas, do we? Six, but car's got nice acceleration. I can hear a couple little rattles coming from behind me. I'm not really sure. Anything you can reach back there and identify?
No, but it's got a fold down rear seat that those hinges don't fit. Like, I can make it. Yeah.
Is that what that is? Alright.
If you fold it down all the way, it probably will quit rattling.
Alright.
Or if I hold on to it tight, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better. That's just me holding the top of the seat is all.
Okay. Pan back there for me, would you? Is that running?
Fold the seat down.
Kind of a difficult task. While we're moving.
Yep.
Just take it around the block one more time?
Absolutely, that's fine.
All right, cool. All right, thank you, sir. We're finishing up a in the dark test drive. Jason from Auto Appraise, thanks for hanging out today. 1967 Shelby Eleanor setup. A few little rattles along the way, maybe a little bit of tire contact, but we made some sharp turns, like the cobalt blue backlit gauges. Everything appears to be working. Last look at the gauges. We'll check the engine temperature before we shut down. Let's take a peek here. 149, 155, 163, 96, plenty cool. Plenty cool. All right, thanks for hanging out. I apologize for the extremely long video. This video was specifically made for a person purchasing this vehicle. If you are watching it and you didn't hire me, you're seeing it after the fact. Thanks again.